Good morning. Today's topic is protein folding, chaperones, targeting, and sorting. So, these are the topics which are related with post translational modifications which which have been taught to you in detail during post translational modification class. So now let us see the left out aspects of it one by one. So the learning objectives of today's topic are: describe the mechanism of folding and processing of proteins and the role of chaperones in protein folding. Describe protein targeting and sorting along with its associated disorders. So folding and processing or post-translational modification. So what do you mean by post-translational modification? So once the protein is synthesized by the process known as translation from the RNA, that is messenger RNA, the protein which is synthesized is in the premature form, and by post-translational modifications, the inactive form of the protein which is actually synthesized gets converted into active form of the protein. So here folding and processing is also a type of post-translational modification which converts the inactive form of the protein into its active form. So let us learn it in detail. So in order to achieve biologically active form of protein, the new polypeptides must fold into its proper three-dimensional conformation. So what do you mean by this three-dimensional conformation? So when you see the structure of the protein, so it is a three-dimensional structure. So once the protein is synthesized, so it is in inactive form. So by proper folding and processing, the inactive long protein chain is converted into its three-dimensional active conformation by the folding and processing. Before or after folding, the new polypeptide may undergo enzymatic processing, including removal of one or more amino acid, usually from the amino terminal end, then addition of acetyl, phosphoryl, methyl, carboxyl or other groups to certain amino acid residues, so which is also a type of post-translational modification. Then proteolytic cleavage, so where you have learned about introns and exons, where due to the proteolytic cleavage the active form of protein is synthesized. Then attachment of oligosaccharides or prosthetic groups, which makes the protein into its conformational active form. So driving force of protein folding. Folding is a spontaneous process that is mainly guided by hydrophobic interactions. Formation of intramolecular hydrogen bonds, van der Waals forces, and it is opposed by conformational entropy. The process of folding often begins co-translationally, so that the N-terminal end of the protein begins to fold while the C-terminal portion of the protein is still being synthesized by the ribosome. However, a protein molecule may fold spontaneously during or after biosynthesis. So, protein folding may start during the protein synthesis as well as after the protein synthesis also. Chaperones. So, what are these chaperones? These are basically proteins that are involved in the folding and unfolding of other proteins. Various approaches have been applied to study the structure, dynamics, and functioning of these chaperones. Chaperone assisted folding is required in crowded intracellular environment to prevent aggregation. So chaperones are used to prevent misfolding and aggregation which may occur as a consequence of exposure to heat or other changes in the cellular environment. The misfolding of proteins can trigger the further misfolding and accumulation of other proteins into aggregates or oligomers. These increased levels of aggregated proteins in the cell leads to the formation of amyloid-like structures which can cause degenerative disorders, and finally the cell death may occur. Then diseases caused by misfolding of proteins. So they are Alzheimer's disease, cystic fibrosis, Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, and Gaucher's disease. So these are the diseases which are caused by misfolding of proteins. Role of molecular chaperones in folding of proteins. Folding of many proteins require chaperones. Proteins that interact with partially folded or improperly folded polypeptides, facilitating correct folding pathways or providing microenvironments in which the folding can occur properly. Several types of molecular chaperones are found in the organisms ranging from bacteria to human beings. So the two major families are HSP70 family and chaperonins. Then HSP70 proteins. An HSP70 protein binds to a newly synthesized polypeptide. The HSP70 chaperone probably helps to prevent the premature folding. Then clinical significance of these chaperones. There are many disorders associated with mutations in gene coding chaperones that can affect muscle, bone, or central nervous system. Before or after folding, the polypeptide may undergo processing by enzymatic action. Collectively, these alterations are known as post-translational modifications. So, post-translational modifications may include removal of part of the translated amino acid sequence or the covalent addition of one or more chemical groups required for the protein activity. Some types of post-translational modifications are here. So the types of post-translational modifications are the amino terminal and carboxy terminal end modifications, loss of signal sequences. So what are these signal sequences? Signal sequences are the specialized signals present in the translated protein which helps uh, in the transport of proteins at the particular place or at its desired place. Once the proteins reaches its desired place, these signal sequences are lost. So signal sequences are important for the transport of the desired protein at the particular place. Then next is attachment of carbohydrate side chains. Then modification of individual amino acids by glycosylation, phosphorylation, carboxylation, hydroxylation, methylation, addition of prosthetic group. So one of the best example of post-translational modification is carboxylation of glutamic acid residues by vitamin K, which is a good example of post-translational modifications. Then the next is proteolytic processing. Then the next is formation of disulfide crosslinks. Then the protein targeting and sorting. So what is this protein targeting and sorting? So protein targeting or protein sorting is the mechanism by which the cell transports the protein to the appropriate position in the cell or outside of it. So by protein targeting and sorting, the protein reaches its appropriate place or position where it is required. It may be inside or outside the cell. So protein targeting is to transport the protein to its appropriate position or place inside or outside the cell. The pathways by which the proteins are sorted and transported to their proper cellular location are referred to as protein targeting or sorting pathways. Proteins can be targeted to the inner space of an organelle, different intracellular membranes, plasma membrane, and to the exterior of the cell via secretion. This delivery process is carried out based on information contained in the protein itself. Correct sorting is crucial for the cell. Errors can lead to the diseases. Protein targeting system is depending on the short sequence of amino acids called signal sequences at the amino terminal end of the newly synthesized polypeptide chain. So, the newly synthesized protein has got a sequence of amino acids which is called as signal sequences, which helps in the protein targeting or the transporting the protein to its appropriate position. So signal sequences is the short sequence of amino acid which is present at the amino terminal end of the newly synthesized protein, which helps in transport of protein at its appropriate position or place wherever it is required, which is called as protein targeting system. So protein targeting system is depending on the short sequence of amino acids called as signal sequences at amino terminal end of the newly synthesized polypeptide chain. So signal sequences very important. The signal sequences direct a protein to its appropriate location in the cell and is removed during the transport or when the protein reaches its final destination. There are two general mechanisms by which sorting takes place. So what are those mechanisms? Let us see one by one. So the two general mechanisms by which the sorting takes place. So the signal sequences, before starting this, we need to know that the signal sequences which are present in the newly synthesized protein helps in transport of the protein at the particular position, and when the protein reaches its target, then these signal sequences are removed. Then the two general mechanisms by which the sorting takes place, or in one mechanism the protein is synthesized in the cytoplasm and then the complete protein is delivered to its intracellular location post translationally. The protein destined for the nucleus, chloroplast, mitochondria, and peroxisomes are delivered by this general process. So, by one mechanism, the protein which is synthesized in the cytoplasm is then completed and delivered to its intracellular location directly post translationally. So, it may be to the nucleus, peroxisome, chloroplast, and mitochondria, which you can see in the diagram. Then the next mechanism is termed as secretory pathway. So this secretory pathway directs the proteins into the endoplasmic reticulum co-translationally, that is, while the protein is being synthesized simultaneously. So approximately 30% of all the proteins are sorted by secretory pathway, including secreted proteins resident of endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, and plasma membrane proteins. So this is secretory pathway which you can see in the diagram. Then the disorders due to the defects in peroxisomal matrix protein import. So peroxisomal biogenesis disorder refers to disorders in the Zellweger spectrum, which include Zellweger syndrome, which is the most severe one, and then neonatal adrenoleukodystrophy, and then infantile Refson's disease, which is the least severe among the three. So these are the autosomal recessive metabolic disorders that are collectively characterized by abnormal peroxisome assembly and impaired peroxisomal function. So peroxisomal biogenesis disorder often causes death in early infancy.